Hey, I'm Stephanie, and it is a cold and wintry day. From what I hear, a mean storm is coming through that is either going to dump a ton of snow or a ton of ice or absolutely nothing on us. I am waiting to see how everything develops, but in any case, it is cold and it is the perfect time to try to play with some icy makeup. And I received this Nomad Polar Express palette in PR, and I thought it would be the perfect time to try it, especially because look at these colors. They are very fitting for a day like today with the weather that we're getting. So I'm going to be playing with this Polar Express palette, and I'm going to be trying the blues because I'm a beige babe. If you've been watching me for a while, you know my favorite shades are always the dirt colored dirt. And I'm always a little bit intimidated by colors like this. So I'm going to try to create 3 looks that integrate the color to see if I can make myself more comfortable with it while also trying out this formula because I've never tried Nomad Cosmetics before. And I'm actually really interested because I've heard good things about them, but you know, seeing is believing. I'm going to ease myself into this palette by starting with what makes me feel most comfortable, kind of like the way I would ease myself into an ice bath if I had the choice. So I am going to start with my favorite shades in the palette, which are the dirt colored dirt ones, because that's just who I am. So we're going to not deviate too far from that. We're going to focus on these, but I have found that when I am wearing color, a lot of the times if I add a pop of color at the lash line, that's where I personally feel most comfortable, and that's why we're going to begin, and then we will get more dramatic as the day goes on. So I'm going to start with this mid-toned hot cocoa shade here. Use my S33 brush from Esom to do that, and I am just going to kind of put it on my brow bone because my brow bone is pretty prominent, so I tend to put color out here. Whoa, that's darker than I thought it would be. Like this looked warmer and more mid-toned in the pan, and on my skin it's looking dark. So let's see if we can blend this out a bit. I feel like it's staying put, like in a good way. It's kind of melting into my skin, which I like. That's my preference. If a powder is going to sit on top of my skin and look powdery, that's usually not my favorite look. So I do like that this is melting into the skin, but as it's melted into the skin, it's also kind of staying put, which I think is a good sign for the longevity, but it is a little bit intimidating for me. So I'm going to go in with this lighter shade here. This is Nougat Candy. Oh, why wouldn't I want to put nougat candy on my face? It sounds yummy. Okay, and so that kind of neutralized it a bit, but I think on my second eye, I am going to go in with a mix of the two and see how that works out for me. That is the better choice for me. So now I know that for the future. If I want a nice, subtle, dirt-colored dirt look, I'm going to mix these two in my crease. Just push that heavy brow back a little bit. Oh, but even there I went a little too far. See, I'm used to less pigmented shadows than this, so this is a very new experience for me. But I do feel like I'm able to kind of push it around a little bit, manipulate it a tiny bit at least. All right, so I guess we're gonna go smokier than I was intending. This was gonna be a very everyday look, but I don't know. It's kind of like this storm, right? Nobody knows what it's gonna be like. We all thought, oh, maybe it's gonna be huge, maybe it's gonna be tiny. None of us still know how it's ultimately gonna turn out in the midst of it. So I guess this is just a case of art reflecting life. I'm going to take my BK203 brush and I'm going to go into the darkest shade. I just stamped it in there once and we'll see what happens. I'm going to go on the outer corner here. These shadows mean business. My final opinion on these shadows I think is going to take a little while for me. I'm going to have to get used to how pigmented they are. I think these are the kind that you actually have to kind of stamp in place where you want them and then blend them out, but I think I need to be using maybe smaller brushes to do that. I find that some formulas have a learning curve. Sometimes it takes a little bit for me to figure them out. But I feel like I'm trying everything out on this eye first, and then it's already looking better on this eye once I figure out things. So I think it's literally just an experience thing. Once I learn how to work with this formula, I think it's actually going to be really lovely. Yeah, because when I look at this, this does not look heavy or powdery at all on the eye. And I don't know, I really want to go in with this one or this one. Since all of the shadows are looking darker on my eye than they look in the pan, I think I'm going to go with Mr. C, this shade right here. It looks like it'll be good for the lid. Let me see if I have a silicone applicator hanging around, because those are my favorite to apply shimmers like this. And I do. Oh, that's nice. I like that. It doesn't have much of a base to it at all. It's just got that glitter, but it's not too much. I feel like that's the kind of sparkle I've been in the mood for lately. I used to think I wanted bombastic sparkle all the time. I think I did want bombastic sparkle all the time. But now I'm trying to learn more about balance, like balancing my features and my coloring. And sometimes I feel like the reason that such sparkly finishes were so difficult for me to get right on me, so that I was really happy with the look, is because I have, I think, softer features and more muted coloring. And so I think the extremes sometimes looked even more extreme on me than they do on other people. And then shades that would look subtle on someone else, or finishes that would look subtle on someone else, they're more of a standout on me. And so I'm just kind of learning to find that balance now. Okay, I think that's really lovely, but it's not looking very icy or very stormy yet. So now we have to go into the blues. I think I'm gonna just go right for the dark blue and use it as a liner. So I'm going to use the shade Frozen Sea and line my eye with this. Oh yeah, this formula seems to stamp very nicely. I think I'm going to have to keep that in mind for future looks. I'm trying to think of what I want to do with this line here, because right now it's really stark. But I'm worried if I go in and try to blend it with this brush, that it's going to look a little bit messy. Let's see if I can find a better brush. All right, let's try this Zoeva. What kind of brush is it? It's the 320 Smoky Liner brush, and it's clean, doesn't have any product on it. And I think maybe this will help me smoke it out without it getting too messy, I hope, since I did my base makeup first. So it was risky with a new palette. And then I think I need something in here, and I think I'm just going to go in with Nougat Candy again. Just soften that up a bit. Yeah, I think once I have mascara on, I think that'll come together. So I'll do the same thing on the second eye. Midway through doing this eye, I figured I would want to bring a blue pop of color in here. And so that's why I decided to bring the liner in a little bit more towards the center of the eye. Okay. Do I just want to use my finger? Do I have a little tiny brush? I have a little tiny brush. I think I'll use this. This is IT Cosmetics. It's silver on silver, so it's really hard to read in this light. The airbrush number 125, 175. Silver on silver is hard for me. Okay, let me see. Because we're doing an icy look, do I want to do blue or do I want to do silver on the inner corner? I think I want to do blue. Let's see how that looks. We'll do it on one corner first and see. Oh yeah, if I just do a little bit, I feel like that brightens it up just a little bit without being too much. Like this doesn't look like a crazy blue eye. Any fan of Angelica Nyquist is probably like, that's not colorful at all. But I feel like I'm rainbow bright here. I'm still using the Clinique High Impact Mascara in Black Honey. This is the last month I can use it because I always change out my mascaras like clockwork just to make sure I don't get an eye infection. But I'm going to be sad to see this one go. This is a favorite for me. Anybody who's watched my channel for a while knows I tend to stick to drugstore mascaras when I buy them for myself, but this one was a gift from a friend, a very thoughtful friend. And I really like the fact that it's not a black mascara. And I really like the fact that it gives me fluffy lashes. Like it just volumizes. Do you see that difference? I really like this one. It's hard to find the Black Honey shade. I've had samples of this in black before and it works just as well, but I tend to prefer brown mascaras. And this is kind of like a subtle berry brown, which I really like. I think normally if I was doing a look like this, I would pick a black mascara, but I haven't opened my black mascara yet. And I just feel like, I don't know, I should probably just do it because I usually have one black and one brown mascara open at any time. And I haven't had a black one open in a while just because I like brown so much. But maybe I should have broken it out today. Maybe I'll do that for one of the other looks. Here's the finished look. This feels very dramatic for me. I was going for more of an everyday look, but it definitely, became more dramatic than I thought it was going to be. Much smokier because those browns are darker on me, on my skin, than they look in the pan. So that's good to know. It's definitely a learning experience. So I think I'm going to have a meal with my family right now so I can show off all my hard work. And then I'll come back with a fresh face, or at least fresh eyes, and we'll try something even more impactful with more of the blues. Because if we have a palette with blues like this and an ice cold storm, I feel like we need to do some icy looks.
One flurry later.
It's time for look number 2, and I'm really going to go for it with the blues this time. And I'm actually going to try using them with my fingers because, I don't know, it's nice to finger paint a little bit. So I'm going to start with the lightest blue, which is North Pole, and I'm going to put that on the inside of my lid, right there, to really brighten it up. Oh my gosh, look how bright that is. That is so pretty. Once again, very pigmented. But I feel like this method is working really well with these shadows because I feel like they function really well when they're patted in. Even with the brushes, I felt like that was kind of the best way to do it. Yeah, I really like the way that's sitting right in there. Wow, that is vivid. I'm not used to this sort of thing. But it's really pretty. I like the shade because it's, I don't know, it's almost got like just the teeniest, tiniest maybe bit of green in it. I don't know. It's like a beautiful sky blue, robin's egg blue. I feel like if there was a blue that was going to be vivid that I would wear, it would probably be this one. So I'm actually really happy with that. And now I'm going to go in with the darkest shade right on the tip of my finger. And I'm going to focus that on the outer corner, mostly at the lash line, and then I'll bring it up. But not much. I'm going to keep most of it on my lid. So I'm not really taking it up into the crease. Let's see how exact I can get doing this with my finger. I don't know. I'm scared it's going to smudge, but I'm going to risk it. And I feel like those two shadows already blend well. I mean, look, I'm just patting them in, but look how well they blend together. Like, I was going to use this transition shade just to kind of blend the two, but they kind of blend on their own, don't they? Wow, look how intense that is. That is really cool. Okay, and I'm not going to worry too much about the mess that's right here for now because I'm going to go and fix that later. But first, I'm going to get this darker blue off my finger so that I can go back in and pat that, or yeah, I want to pat the lighter color in. So, see if I can get something to remove that. We are going to go in with the Desert of Ice shade in the middle there, that middle blue, and just see what happens when we put that over it. Oh, but yeah. It does do something nice. I kind of like that. I like the way they two blend on their own, but this also, I don't know, this adds like just another bit of intensity. Wow, that is cool. I'm actually really surprised that I'm not super intimidated by this. This is actually really fun. Let's do the same on the other eye. So we're just going to pat this into the inner corner. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I can't believe how pigmented that is. And it just kind of sits there. It's great. I wonder how much snow I'll be shoveling or if it's going to be ice. Only time will tell. But either way, I'll have the right look to handle it. Wow, that is intense. That is a really fun color. That went a little bit low, but we're just having fun today. I'll see if I can clean that up afterwards. And then we'll add that Desert of Ice shade as that pop of transition in between. That's a turn of phrase I never thought I'd say. A pop of transition. Okay, wow, that is colorful. Let's see, I'm just gonna take a tissue here and see how well this wipes off. We'll see. I don't know if it will. I think I might have just made the situation worse. But like, I really don't feel like doing my under eyes again, so. We'll see if this Lazy Man solution will help. Okay, I think it needs a little bit of the lighter blue at the bottom of the inner corner there, but I can't get in there with my finger, so I'm gonna have to use a brush for that. So we're gonna take the lightest blue and I'm just gonna tap this tiny little brush in there and try to keep it just to the very line of the lash there. I don't want it to come down too far. In my last video, I talked about how I forgot to bring my my waterline liner with me. I normally like to line my waterline with kind of like a beige color to make my eyes look bigger when I'm doing dramatic looks like this, and now I'm really missing it. I really wish I had it with me. It's the Too Faced eyeliner in Killer Cashmere. I could have really used that right now. but we're just gonna make do with what we have. And now that we're here and we have this beautiful blue look, we got to do something about the edges here, because see how, I don't know, messy they are? Editing Stephanie here. This is one of those cases where I'm looking at the footage and I'm wishing I could like do some touch-ups, because I can see that when I took the first eye look off, I ended up removing some of my foundation and blush and bronzer kind of near the eye area too. And it's like so apparent on the footage, but it wasn't really apparent in real life. Maybe that's just because I wasn't wearing my glasses. I don't know. But I just want to let you know, I do see it, but there's nothing I can do about it now. So I'm just going to put it up like that anyway. Let's do something about that. Let's see. We're going to go in with this brush that we used for the first look, the Esom 633. And we're going to go in with, because I've learned my lesson, the lightest shade. Nougat Candy. Because those other shades are very dark. And I'm just going to kind of blend out the blue so that it doesn't look quite as messy. And then I'm going to go in with mostly the Nougat Candy color, but a little bit of the Hot Cocoa. And we're going to kind of start to darken up here just a little bit, just so we get a little bit of a gradient. Because I just find that I'm most comfortable, if I'm going to do a dramatic look like this with a lot of color, I can do that, but I find that I'm most comfortable with it personally, just the way I wear makeup, when I keep it to the mobile lid and then I just use some basic contouring that are like, I don't know, colors that are closer to my skin tone, and I use those in this area to kind of shape my eye a little bit. And that way I feel like I don't get overwhelmed by the color. I'm not sure if it's just because these colors are so much more dramatic, but I find that these colors aren't looking quite as dark anymore. Maybe I'm just being too careful after my unintended smokiness in the first look. But yeah, there we go. I feel like we've added some shadow in there that's not overwhelming me with color. I'm comfortable with this. I always have to remember not to lift my eyebrows, because whenever I look in the mirror, I feel like I lift my brows just to kind of make the brow bone look a little bit lighter, I guess. And I have to remember not to do that while I'm applying my eye makeup, because I don't walk around with my eyebrows raised all the time. Now, I feel like this look calls for an eyeliner, and normally like it'd be great if I had like a liquid liner in navy. I don't have that, so I'm just going to use a liquid liner in black. I've got this NYX Epic ink liner, so I'm going to use that. I'm trying to stay like really close to the lash line in here. And then I'll make the line a little bit thicker as I go out. I feel like it's bleeding up in the inside. I tried to fix it by adding more, but I think that was a mistake. Oh gosh, what is happening? I haven't used liquid liner in a while. Can you tell? Oh my gosh, look what I did. I am just destroying everything today. And I don't have the tools I normally use. So I'm gonna have to go try to find a Q-tip somewhere. It's weird when you're working in a different place like this because like I don't have all the tools I normally have. Normally I have my micellar water and all these little miniature wipey things around, and I'd be able to easily take care of these little mistakes. But instead I have to squeeze through this little tiny corner that I have set up next to my filming space and make my way to the bathroom and try to find whatever Q-tips might be in the drawer. When I had to use a little bit of makeup remover because I didn't have micellar water, so it took away some of the shadows. I'm gonna have to add a little more back. Happy little accidents, isn't that what Bob Ross used to say? We need to add some more of this blue in there too. Yeah. And if we had that blue, then we have to add this blue. Oh gosh, it's a whole chain reaction. But to be honest, when I make little oh look, and I just got some on my face. Super, super duper. I'll have to take care of that later. Watch, I'll forget and it's gonna stay there the rest of the video. No, but when mistakes like this happen, unless it's like before something important, it really doesn't bother me because it's almost kind of fun to try to fix the issues. I don't know, any excuse to take longer doing my makeup is welcome for me because it's my moment of zen. Let's see, can I get this off without taking my makeup off? Not really, maybe a little. Okay. And now we can do the liner on the other eye, where we have the impossible task of trying to make sure that both wings look somewhat related. I'm getting to the age where it's getting harder and harder to do liquid liner because my skin isn't as taut as it used to be, but I think I'm still managing somewhat. Even if my wings are completely different. This one's got a little swoosh to it, and this one's a little bit straighter. Once this dries, I'll go in and do that, but I don't want to make the same mistake that I made on this eye, so I'm going to be extra careful. That's gonna just be the best that I can do. I know I said I didn't want to open my black mascara, but I kind of think like this look calls for it. That's actually why I almost always have a black and a brown mascara open at the same time, because I just feel like if you're gonna do a black wing liner, then you gotta do black mascara because brown just isn't as impactful anymore. So I guess I will open up my black mascara. I have this sample of the Lights Camera Lashes mascara from Tarte. I've used a sample of this before, and I remember liking it, so I'm excited to see if I still like it, or wow, this brush is different than I remember it. Let's see. This mascara is immediately flaking all over my cheek. This sample was decluttered to me, so I don't know how old it is, but it looks like it might be too old to use. I'm gonna try anyway. Oh my gosh, do you see that fallout there? Not ideal. Okay. Well, I tried. But now I think I'm gonna have to try it on the other side too, because these lashes, I don't know, they look different. Well, this is unfortunate. Well, this mascara is going to go in the trash, but I don't think that it's the fault necessarily of the mascara because I do remember using a sample of this in the past and liking it. So I bet if I were to check the lot number of this, it would be like really old. But I don't even know if samples have lot numbers. So I don't know that I'm going to bother to check it because it's clearly not working. But I do think what I want to do is add something in the lash line here. I have a black gel liner, and I think I want to put that in there to try to help the the lash liner situation combine a little bit better. I don't know if I'm going to regret this because this is the Pat McGrath Labs Permagel Ultra Glide Eye Pencil in Extreme Black, and it is extremely black, but I do find that it kind of transfers. Like if I put it on my lash line, I have to be very careful because it could transfer to the bottom. Since we're just doing this for fun, I'm going to risk it. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up the difference, but in real life, I see quite a difference between this lash line and this one. And I feel like the base of the lashes just looks a lot thicker when I have this at the waterline or the lash line. It would have been nice though, had that mascara worked, because I think we'd have like a really black dramatic lash. But I'm not going to go buy one because I think I have another sample waiting for me at home. Although I have no idea how old that one is either, so who knows, maybe I'll be in the same boat. But I would rather go through them and try them before just going out and spending money on a new one. So here we have finished look number 2. What do I think of this? I'm looking at it in the monitor right now, and I'm looking at it in all sorts of different mirrors, and to be honest, I would wear this. Like, I actually really like this, which is shocking me. Anybody who has followed my channel for a long time knows that I am very shy when it comes to color, but actually, I really like this. I think I would wear it. Yeah, I would. I mean, maybe not to the grocery store, although I've been known to go to the grocery store in much more dramatic attire. I remember my friends and I, when we were in college, we thought it was so silly that we had prom dresses hanging in our closet that were never getting used. And so we would go to fast food restaurants and dressed in our prom stuff. I feel like that's like what this needs. I think I need to go get some fast food now or something. Dressed like this. I really like it. Wow. I'm shocked at how much I like this. But I think for me, it really helps when I just keep the color on the mobile lid, because then it's just kind of like a flash whenever I close my eyes. But when my eyes are open, it's not quite as intense. But yeah, this is how I would wear these blues. I actually think this is a wearable palette for me. Before I tried it, I took one look at it and went, well, I'll try it on camera, but I don't know it's going to be for me. But I'm actually surprised. This is shocking me a little bit, but I really like the quality, and I like the fact that there are those kind of press and push shadows where you kind of press it into place. Once I figured that out, it's making it easier. I kind of don't want to take this look off now. Is that weird? I like it. I really do. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to film the intro, and then we'll come back and do the third look.
One intro later.
I'm back for look number 3, and I remembered to turn my fireplace back on so that we can be warm and cozy during the storm. And for look number 3, I think I want to keep this one relatively simple. I'm going to go in with this Angie Hot and Flashy A501 brush, and I'm going into the lightest shade, North Pole, and I just want to brush this over my eye. And what I did this time was I put some concealer on my eye just to kind of cover up some of the veins and some of the redness that I have on my lid. And then I powdered it because I want this to blend really well. And the shadows were kind of sticking to my skin when I hadn't powdered it. And I want this look to not be quite as intense as the other ones. I want to see if I can get something a little bit less intense, a little bit more ethereal. And it looks like powdering it is doing the trick because I'm able to blend it much more easily now. And I actually like that about this formula because it gives it a certain degree of flexibility when you learn how to work with it like that. So I like the fact that I can either choose that kind of stamping method where I apply the shadow, or I can blend it. I just need to powder first. And I like how that's just like a very subtle layer of color. It's not nearly as intense as when I really packed it on there with my finger. But I almost want it to look like there's just this little bit of blue glow around my eye. But I don't want it to be super bright. But I think that's actually what I'm going for. that was pretty easy to achieve. Do it on the other side. I feel like it's not sticking as well right in here, so I don't know if I just didn't put enough concealer down there or if I put too much concealer down there. Something I'll have to experiment with. I think that's all I'm going to do for Real Color, although I think I might want to add some brightness to the inner corner, and I think I'm going to use this Snowy Mountain shade. It's just a matte white. I just want to remove all of the blue from this brush so that it's just pure white that gets in there. Because I think what I'd like it to look like is just like this point of brightness with like an aura of blue. I think that'd be nice. That's already too much, but I think I can blend it out because it's all powdered. Yeah, I can. I keep forgetting how intense these shadows are. A little goes a long way. Another thing I forgot to bring was setting spray. If I had that, I would go and spray my face right now because it's looking just a little bit dry. Some Fix Plus would come in perfectly handy right now. But since I don't have it, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Let's see, I'm just gonna try adding a little bit with my finger down here to see if I can counteract that patchiness. Yeah, I feel like that actually worked really well. I feel like where I'm putting it down, it sticks when I use my finger, and then I can still blend it out. So it's not looking too bright in any one place. Yeah, I think that's good. But now I want to go in with some sparkle because I feel like we need something to make it even more ethereal. So I feel like the colors themselves are pretty ethereal now, but I'm going to go into this all aboard shade. It looks like this sparkly white that could be a little bit bright and intimidating, but it doesn't really have a base to it. I wonder if it's going to stick because I have so much powder on. We're just going to try it and see how it goes. Yeah, but see, it has no base to it. So even though the sparkles are white, it's not too much. I think I might have just taken too much. I'm going to rub some off on my hand here, and then I'll go back in and take it from my hand instead of the palette. Oh, I actually like the way that's applying. I think I'm going to do that again. I just went into the palette again. I'm taking some more and putting it on my hand, and then I'm applying it with my finger, and I really like how sparse that is. It's like still evenly distributed, adding a little bit of shine there, but it's not too much. I like that. I'm just kind of putting this at the center of each eye. And if I didn't have this contour here, right, like with the heavy brow bone, I would probably take this up further because I think it would be really nice to bring the sparkle up. But I find that when I do that, it just kind of emphasizes and kind of brings forward that heavy brow bone. So I don't tend to do that a lot, but I think it would look really nice on someone who didn't have that big brow bone there. And now I'm going to add some mascara, but I'm going to use my brown one. That still works. I think this would look gorgeous with a gray mascara. I just got my mother a gray mascara for Christmas, and I can't wait to see her use it because I think it's going to look great with her coloring. But she's like me. She only has one mascara open at a time, and because she already has a mascara open, she's waiting to open it, so I haven't seen it yet. Final look number 3. Creating these 3 looks with the Polar Express palette today has taught me a couple of things. The first one is I now understand why people speak so highly of Nomad Cosmetics. It's the sort of brand that has been on my radar for a long time, and I've always admired them from afar, but I just always thought that the palettes would be a little bit too colorful for me since I tend to wear the more beige shades. And so I'm really glad that they sent this to me because I don't know that I would have otherwise tried it. The one palette that I had always been kind of eyeing, I think is called the Old West palette. I'll put it up on the screen because there is a palette that I was always eyeing. And now that I've tried this, I am kind of tempted to try that one. But what I have to say is the sparkle formula in here is really nice because the base is very lightweight, yet I feel like it holds the sparkle. I don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot of fallout on my cheeks. Of course, I have oily, hooded, deep set eyes, so I'm not sure how they would wear over time. I haven't tested that yet, but at least during the application process, it was very easy to apply them without getting a lot of fallout and getting just the right amount of impact. I felt like I had a lot of control over that. And one thing that I also really like about them is I like the size of the sparkle particles. A lot of times I'll say that an eyeshadow has a beautiful pieciness to it. And when I say that, I mean that you can see the individual sparkles. They kind of twinkle. And I feel like these have the right degree of twinkle. The particles aren't too big, they're not too small, they have just the right amount of impact for me, and I really enjoy that. The mattes are very interesting. Normally, I feel like most matte shadows that I'm used to, not cream to powders or any sort of weird formulas, but just, you know, normal pressed powders like these, I usually find go on best with a brush and I'll just kind of, you know, brush them on and blend them out. These are definitely that press and stamp sort of thing for me, at least when my eyelids aren't set with powder first. And that is actually a really great quality to have because they are easily blendable over a powder. So if I set my eyelids first with a powder, like a translucent powder, and then go in with these, I can still do that blendy thing that I like to do. But if I want to use them more of like a creamed powder sort of formula, I can use them that way too, with that kind of press and stamp motion to get a lot more impact. And I really like the flexibility that that offers me. And I think that might be one of the reasons that I am having so much fun with the color in here, because I can control it. And of course, this is my first time using it, so I'm sure that there is a whole lot more that I could do with it or figure out. But my first impressions are that I'm actually really impressed by this, and it was a lot of fun. But like I said, I haven't done a wear test yet, so I would be interested to see how they wear on my eyes, and I'll have to report back on that, because if they wear well on my eyes, that is a huge boon, and then I would really have to work hard to convince myself not to get that other palette. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this snowy, icy, stormy day. I hope that you are safe and warm wherever you are. And if you enjoyed this video, please say hi in the comments, like, subscribe, and check out this video here. Thanks for hanging out, and to all of my patrons and channel members, including my Adagio angels, for making content like this possible. I hope we can all remember that even stumbling is a form of moving forward. So let's stumble in style.